All right, what's up, everybody? It's KZ here. This is going to be my UFC 318 Holloway versus Poirier breakdowns and picks. I'm ready to go. I got my weight on my dick, and we're fucking doing reps right now. In honor of Conor McGregor, we got some fucking dick weights on. So let's get right into the card, run this up. I should have had this ready already, but don't worry. I'm just going to stall in the meantime. There we go. Bada bang. Ooh, quick. Easy. All right, so first things first, we got Carly Judice versus Nicole Cagliari. My pick is going to be Carly Judice. I feel like she's a really good fighter, bro. She's a scrapper. Like no WMA irony here. Like she's actually good. Like I was watching some tape on Carly Judice, and I legitimately was entertained by her fights, which is saying something for a WMA fighter. You know, she goes in there, she really fucking scraps. She went to a split decision with Gabriela Fernandez, the girl that fraud checked Wang Kong and finished her in Singapore. And she had a really competitive fight against Ernesta Karashkeda on Dana White Contender Series, the girl that Nicole Cagliari is coming off of a loss to. So I feel like Cagliari might have a little bit of a strike or a wrestling advantage, the jiu-jitsu advantage, but Carly Judice with her length on the feet, her head kicks, her dangerous striking, I feel like she can, either get Cagliari out of there or she can win a decision, just a dominant decision, piecing Cagliari up. And watching those two fights with her losses against Ernesta Karashkeda and Gabriela Fernandez, she arguably could have won both of those fights. Like they were very, very close fights. So, she got fight of the night with Gabriela Fernandez. And like, honestly, that was a sick fight. That was a sick scrap. So Carly Judice, I like her. She's tough as fuck. She's got good striking, got good footwork. I feel like cardio is about even for both of the girls. So Nicole Cagliari, she's just going to have to be shooting for takedowns. Like her life depends on it. She's got fast hands. She's got a little bit of pop, but I feel like Carly Judice should be able to get this done, especially being the hometown girl in Louisiana, Lafayette. So moving right on, we got Bruno Ferreira versus Jackson McVeigh. I'm picking Bruno Ferreira. I mean, maybe you could sprinkle a little bit of something on Jackson McVeigh first round because he hasn't even been out of the first round once in his career. I'll go ahead and double check that for you guys. Yeah, round one. So only in the amateurs he's been to round two. So it's like you got to think like I'm not going to make the same mistake that I did with Taliesin Teixeira, picking a can crusher that only beats dudes on the regional scene to beat a savage like Bruno Ferreira. Bruno Ferreira's only lost to some of the best fighters in Ruziboyev and Abus Magomedov. And either way, he was hurting Magomedov a lot in that fight. He was dropping him, hitting with big shots. And then Nursultan Ruziboyev, he has like worlds more experience than Jackson McVeigh. I mean, he's 36-9. The dude's record is fucking deep. So I don't see McVeigh having the experience factor, the skill level to get a savage like Bruno Ferreira out of there. I feel like he's going to be taking big shots for as long as the fight lasts, and I think Bruno is going to get a first-round KO there, maybe even a submission. But I don't think McVeigh's ready for this level. He might come in and get a couple of wins over some lower-level guys, but Bruno Ferreira, I feel like it's just too much too soon. Because McVeigh was supposed to fight Cedricus Dumas and then Christopher Ewart, but neither of those fights came to fruition, so I feel like Bruno Ferreira should be able to get this done here. And now Ryan Spann versus Lucas Brzeski. Man, these guys fucking suck. Oh, these guys are shit. I'll tell you that. I could beat both of these guys barehanded. No, I'm just kidding. But that was a joke, eating a Dorito and calling professional fighters shit. But in reality, these guys are shit for professional fighters, okay? Ryan Spann does have some good wins. He knocked out Dominic Reyes with a fucking jab. Hello. And then Lucas Brzeski got a dominant, it wasn't that dominant, but he got a decision win over Walter Walker. And Walter Walker came in super fat, just out of shape, not ready for that fight. The version of Walter Walker that fought Kennedy Nzechukwu would absolutely kill Lucas Brzeski. So I'm going Ryan Spann. I feel like he just is more dangerous on the feet. He's got more KO power than Brzeski. Brzeski just got fucked up by Waldo Cortez Acosta, and he wasn't very competitive in that fight whatsoever, apart from just, some tippy-tappy calf kicks that he was landing on Acosta. But, and Ryan Spann was actually landing like solid heavy shots on Waldo Cortez Acosta. So, he hurt him at some points, but Waldo showed that he has a fucking solid chin. But MMA math, Ryan Spann had more success than Breshke in the fight. I'm just gonna assume that Ryan Spann can catch Breshke with big shots and get him out of there. Breshke's not very durable. So yeah, and maybe even submit him. All right, I had to step away for a second, but I'm going Ryan Spann KO. I just feel like he should be able to land the bigger shots on Breshke and get him out of there. Breshke's hittable. He's clean enough, but he's not very good. But yeah, moving on, we got Jimmy Crute versus Marcin Prachnio. I really wanted to pick Marcin Prachnio, man. I did. I just feel like Jimmy Crute, he's Jimmy Crute. He's not great. Every time I think of Jimmy Crute, I just think of him getting his shit destroyed by Jamal Hill. And this is pre Achilles tendon tear Jamal Hill, so he was a lot better than he is now. But man, I don't know, man. It's just like Jimmy Crute hasn't had a win since 2020 or 2021, and that was over Modestas Bukauskas. Yeah, 2020, which is crazy. He hasn't had a win in 5 years. And then Prachnio went to war with Modestas Bukauskas. Granted, that's a much, much, much improved version of Bukauskas that Marcin Prachnio went to war with, but he ended up getting submitted in round 3. And I don't know, man. It's like Prachnio, he looks good in round 1. He looks really clean, crisp, and dangerous in round 1, and then he just starts to slow down. It happened in every single fight of his that I watched. I watched about 3 or 4 fights of his. I watched Vitor Petrino, Devin Clark, and Modestas Bukauskas. And because I feel like, he got a win over Khalil Roundtree, which is impressive, but that was back in 2021. He was 33 during that fight, or even 32. Now he's 37. I feel like he's slowing down. And I don't know, man. I feel like Jimmy Crute just needs to come in with a wrestle-heavy game plan, and he should be able to get the win here. If he tries to stand up on the feet with the whole time with Prachnio, I feel like Prachnio's going to give him problems. But Crute should come in trying to wrestle. He had wrestling success against Alonzo Menafield. He destroyed Rodolfo Bellato in round 1 with grappling and ground and pound and submission attempts. So I feel like Jimmy Crute is coming in. He should definitely have a wrestle-heavy game plan, and he should be able to get this done. Prachnio is live maybe to stop Jimmy Crute early before he starts to gas out, but I just can't bring myself to pick it, and I'm definitely not going to put any money on it. Maybe I might throw Prachnio in a little dollar parlay here or there, but that's about it. So yeah, I'm going Jimmy Crute by decision, potentially even a submission later on in the fight as he wears Prachnio down. But yeah, I'm going Jimmy Crute. And then Adam Fugit versus Islam Dulatov. This is definitely a setup fight for Dulatov to come in here, look good, and get a solid finish. They're definitely wanting to build Adam Dulatov, and I feel like that's exactly what's going to happen. I feel like Dulatov, his aggression, his striking, just the danger with his striking is going to be enough to get Adam Fugit out of there. Adam Fugit, he's a tough journeyman, but I feel like Dulatov is just he's going to look undeniable in this fight. He's going to come in, put together big shots. Adam Fugit might have a little bit of success with maybe wrestling, takedowns. He might land a couple of shots here and there, but I feel like once Dulatov starts really putting his foot on the gas and just starts landing big shots on Adam Fugit, he's not going to stop until he gets him out of there. But potentially we might see this dude gas out. Maybe Adam Fugit can take over late in the fight. Might be a big upset, but I just don't see that happening. I feel like he should be able to get Adam Fugit out of there in round 1, and it's going to be a breakout performance for Islam Dulatov. That's about it. I mean, he had a solid performance on the Dana White Contender Series. He came in, beat the fucking shit out of Vanilto Antunes, landed a nasty elbow to get him out of there. So I feel like he might do something similar to Adam Fugit here. Adam Fugit, like I said, just a journeyman, middle of the road guy, not bad, not great. And, I feel like Dulatov, this is going to be a breakout performance. Now, Ateba Gautier versus Robert Valentin. Man, they are not giving Robert Valentin any fucking favors, man. Like, they're just giving this dude. I mean, Torres Finney, that fight, arguably Valentin won because Finney literally did not do fucking any damage whatsoever. He just hugged him the entire time. And I hate that fighting style. Hugging is not fighting. And Torres Finney should have been cut after that, but it is what it is. I feel like Ateba Gautier, bro, he's an absolute monster. Like, look at this fucking guy. Are you kidding me? He's like middleweight Ngannou. He looks like a fucking action figure. Dude's ridiculous. And yeah, it's not a bodybuilding competition. It's a fight, but I just feel like Gautier, he has good skills. He's very dangerous, solid, more than solid power, insane power. Like he he's a very dangerous fighter. Valentin himself is dangerous as well. I mean, if Valentin were to get a KO, it wouldn't be the most shocking thing in the world. It would be a big upset. But, either way, like, I don't see this fight going to decision. These guys are just going to go out and try to kill each other. Valentin might be a little bit tentative just as he's looking at the freaking monster standing across from him. But I feel like the Viking is going to go forward, do Viking shit. He's going to kill or be killed, try to get Ateba Gautier out of there. And Ateba Gautier is maybe going to catch him with some big counters, just a nice right hand, big uppercuts, knees in the clinch. Ateba Gautier has a lot of good weapons. Maybe Valentin can win if he employs like a wrestle heavy game plan. Ateba Gautier shows that he's a little bit green when it comes to grappling and just when he gets stuck on his back. And then this is something crazy that his only loss is against a guy that only fought one time. This motherfucker, Glenn Williams. So it's like this guy, Glenn Williams, he fought Ateba Gautier and he said, I'm never doing that shit ever again. Fuck that. He probably took such big shots. I didn't go back and watch this fight, but I'm sure that he had to go through some fucking fire and he just had to wrestle and hold Ateba Gautier down for the duration of the fight to get the decision win. And then he was just like, I'm never doing that shit again. That was terrifying. So I'm going Gautier here. I feel like he's just going to be powerful enough, slick enough on the feet to get Valentin out of there, by KO. So we should see what happens in that fight. It's going to be a sick fight for as long as it lasts, but I see Gautier getting the job done. And then Francisco Prado versus Nikolai Veretinikov. I'm going Francisco Prado. I feel like Veretinikov is super stiff, super hittable, slow. I just don't feel like he's that good, man. And I feel like Prado, yes, he's coming off of 2 losses, but those are against Daniel Zellhuber, very fast, very slick striker, very tall, long and lanky, and that was down at 155. And then he lost to Jake Matthews, and then we know Jake Matthews is a good fighter, man. I picked him against Chidi Njokuani. He got Chidi out of there in just a minute. He's coming off of a win over. Before that, he was coming off of a win over Phil Rowe. He had a competitive fight with Michael Morales. So it's like there's not much shame in losing to Jake Matthews, and those were both by decision. Neither guy was able to finish him. Francisco Prado's never been finished, so I like Prado to beat Veretinikov. I feel like you should be able to land big shots on him, maybe even get him out of there. I'm picking Prado by KO. Maybe he could win a decision, but I just feel like as long as the fight lasts, Prado, he swings like a motherfucker, dude. Like he's like the Argentinian Drew Dober, this guy. So I like Prado to get this done by KO. I just feel like Veretinikov is really slow, stiff, and not that great. So I like Prado to get this done here. Might just with a big overhand, big left hook. I feel like he's going to hurt Veretinikov on the feet, and we'll see. He does have kind of T-Rex arms with a 69-inch reach, but I feel like with the experience against Zellhuber and Jake Matthews, he should probably have a little bit more tools and techniques to try to get on the inside and more success with the experience. You lose and you learn, and that's exactly what he did against Zellhuber and Jake Matthews. So we're going Prado by KO. Now, Marvin Vettori versus Brendan Allen. People are picking Vettori because, Vettori unfortunately lost his brother recently. Rest in peace to Vettori's bro. But I just feel like overall, Brendan Allen's the better fighter, man. I just feel like he's slicker on the feet. He's got slicker jiu-jitsu, and maybe they're about even in the wrestling. But I just feel like Brendan Allen can piece everything together a little bit better on the feet in terms of striking. I just feel like Vettori's really stiff with his punches. Like he kind of just throws arm punches out there. He doesn't like throw heavy. He doesn't throw clean. He doesn't throw crisp shots. Like think of Ilia Topuria. Vettori is the complete opposite of that. Or even on the polar opposite of Topuria, think about Dricus du Plessis. Dricus du Plessis at least throws his whole body into shots, and that's why he has such killer power. Vettori just doesn't do that. He just kind of throws like these stiff arm punches, and he doesn't really have much pop on his shots just because he's not throwing the shit properly. And I feel like Brendan Allen should be able, he's a little bit cleaner of a kickboxer. He should be able to even beat Vettori on the feet if he doesn't grapple at all, I feel like. So Vettori obviously has an iron chin. I'd say he's definitely a lot more durable than Brendan Allen, but I just don't see him hurting Brendan Allen and getting him out of there. So I'm going Brendan Allen by decision. Maybe potentially a submission. I don't see him KOing Vettori because Vettori is un-KOable. This dude has a fucking chin made out of Italian steel. So yeah, we're going Brendan Allen by decision. I just feel like he's overall a little bit cleaner of a fighter, a bit more loose, He can kind of flow a little bit better with his strikes, and I feel I like him to get it done. So now Kyler Phillips versus Vinicius Oliveira. I'm picking Vinicius Oliveira. Lock dog is a dog. Well, he's not a dog lock, but lock dog is a lock. All right. Kyler Phillips, he's good. Of course he's good. Yeah, I know he's got some decent strikes. He's clean and crisp with his fancy little strikes. By the way, Kyler, that name fucking pisses me off. Okay, it's either listen to me. It's either Kyle or Tyler. Don't fucking name your kid Kyler. Sounds like a lifeguard at the beach that just is a complete douchebag. What's up, bro? My name's fucking Kyler. My dad owns a yacht, bro. Fuck you. All right. Moving on, anyways. So yeah, Vinicius Oliveira should be able to get this done. He's coming off of a win over Said Nurmagomedov and Ricky Simon. I feel like those are two very impressive wins in terms of matching up against Kyler Phillips' skill set. I feel like Said Nurmagomedov is a bit of a slicker striker than Kyler Phillips, and just more well-rounded overall. And then Ricky Simon is a better wrestler than Kyler Phillips. And, Vinicius Oliveira had success against both of those guys. He was stuffing Ricky Simon's takedowns, putting big shots on him. And then he just wore Said Nurmagomedov down, just coming forward, pressure, just really putting it on him. And Kyler Phillips usually slows down in round 3. He usually doesn't look too great in round 3. He lost round 3 to Song Yadong. He lost round 3 to Raoni Barcelos. And yeah, he usually starts slowing down in these fights just because he's throwing all that spinning shit, all that fancy stuff with all the footwork moving around. I just feel like Vinicius Oliveira might drop round 1. Kyler might pick up round 1. But I just feel like during round 2 and 3, he's just going to keep coming forward, putting big shots on Kyler. And he's going to be able to either get him out of there late or win a 29-28 decision, as he's just really fucking Kyler up in the third round. So we're going Vinicius Oliveira to beat the guy with the douchebag name. So Michael Johnson versus Daniel Zellhuber. I'm picking Daniel Zellhuber to beat the washed Michael Johnson. And you might be asking me, KZ, why does your water bottle look so gay? It's because I have a fucking woman in my life, okay, virgins? This is what shit looks like when you have a lady, all right? You have girly shit around your house because you get fucking pussy like this guy, all right? All right, so anyways, Daniel Zellhuber, I like him to get this done over the washed, aging Michael Johnson. He should be able to just piece Johnson up on the feet for as long as this fight lasts. I'm picking Zellhuber by KO. I don't know exactly what round he's going to get Johnson out of there, but I feel like he should be able to land enough hard, heavy shots to get Johnson out of there. If not, he's just going to win a dominant decision, making Johnson, look old, slow. And for his age, I mean, Michael Johnson's fast. Michael Johnson's always been a very fast fighter, but Daniel Zellhuber is fast and he's a lot younger, and a lot longer and rangier. And I just feel like he has every physical advantage in this fight, really. I mean, Michael Johnson, if he wins, I'll really be shocked. Like, that would be one of the biggest upsets on the card for me personally. Maybe D-Rod beating Kevin Holland would be a little bit bigger of an upset, but I feel like Johnson just does not have what it takes right now at this point in his career to beat Daniel Zellhuber. Maybe if he was in his prime, different story, but he's not. So I feel like Daniel Zellhuber, as long as this fight lasts, is going to be landing, solid calf kicks, solid straight punches, just down the center line, and just piecing out Michael Johnson. 23-19. Oof, that's an ugly record. So, I mean, the record at the end of the day doesn't necessarily matter, but, I just feel like Michael Johnson is just not going to be able to get this done. Zellhuber, I just feel like has too many tools, is too slick on the feet, too tall, too rangy, too fast. He kind of reminds me of Ignacio Bahamondes. I feel like that'd be a pretty sick fight, Zellhuber versus Bahamondes. I just came up with that right now. Look at me, be matchmaker, UFC, hire me. But yeah, moving on, picking Zellhuber, KO points. Dan Ige versus Patricio Pitbull. I'm going with Dan Ige. Dan Ige is the fucking man. Like, I'm a Dan Ige fan, but this is an unbiased pick. I feel like Patricio Pitbull didn't look great against Yair Rodriguez. Granted, Dan Ige and Yair Rodriguez are completely different fighters, but I just feel like this is Pitbull going up against like a prime version of himself and Dan Ige with like a much longer reach. I was talking about Francisco Prado having T-Rex arms. Pitbull has some fucking T-Rex arms, dude. 65-inch reach versus Dan Ige, the orangutan, with a 71-inch reach. And you know what's crazy? Dan Ige, 5'7", 71-inch reach. Paulo Costa, 6'1", 72-inch reach. What the fuck? Dan Ige and Paulo Costa only have a 1-inch reach differential, which is insane just to think about, because Dan Ige is a featherweight and Paulo Costa is a middleweight, and they only have a different 1-inch discrepancy in the reach. It's crazy, crazy stat. But I just feel like Dan Ige at this point, unless Patricio Pitbull comes in with a super, super, super wrestle heavy game plan, I just don't see him beating Dan Ige. Dan Ige has never been finished. He's never been KO'd. I mean, even if Patricio Pitbull lands, his big power shots on Dan Ige, I feel like Dan Ige can, take it, keep pushing, and he can push the pace better than an aging Patricio Pitbull. I feel like he's just the cleaner boxer of the two. And if this was prime Pitbull, it might be a different story, but I just feel like Dan Ige, he's coming into his prime. He's coming off of a loss against a win against Sean Woodson. Excuse me, he beat Sean Woodson. It was a bit of an early stoppage, but he still landed big shots on him to get him hurt. Coming off of a loss against Lerone Murphy, Lerone Murphy, a lot of people hate on him because of that Josh Emmett fight, a lot of just running and hugging. So yeah, and then before that, it was the Diego Lopez loss. He started coming on strong in round 3 against Lopez. Granted, Diego Lopez did have to cut weight for that fight, and Dan Ige didn't. And Dan Ige was already kind of preparing for a fight, and so he was in good shape. But yeah, I just feel like Dan Ige should be able to get this done. I feel like his boxing is going to be good enough to piece Patricio Pitbull up for as long as the fight lasts. Dan Ige has big power. Patricio Pitbull has been KO'd before by AJ McKee twice. Let me see. Whoever the hell Chihiro Suzuki. I didn't watch this fight in Ryzen, but I guess Patricio Pitbull got KO'd by that guy. So I don't know, man. I'm just not going to count on these Bellator guys like Patchy Mix, Pitbull. Most likely going to pick Movsar Evloev to beat Pico, unfortunately. But all that aside, I just feel like Dan Ige right now is the better fighter. He should be able to get this done over an aging, declining Pitbull. Dan Ige is just he's in his prime, and I feel like he's only going to keep getting better here. So moving on, we got Kevin Holland versus Daniel Rodriguez. I like Kevin Holland here. I just feel like he's just going to be better everywhere. He's going to be the faster guy. Daniel Rodriguez likes to strike. Kevin Holland likes to strike as well, and he's just a lot longer, faster, and equally, I feel like maybe is powerful. You know what I mean? D-Rod has good power, but I feel like Kevin Holland definitely has good power too. So it's not like Kevin Holland's just kind of like a pitter-pat kind of guy. Like, he lands big shit and he hurts you. So he might be a club and sub situation, where he drops D-Rod, jumps on the neck, gets a submission. But I feel like Kevin Holland definitely gets a finish here. Kevin Holland KO sub, I feel like would be the call for me. I feel like just as long as the fight lasts, Kevin Holland is going to be on the outside. D-Rod's going to be trying to come forward. Kevin Holland's going to land big right hands just as D-Rod comes crashing in, countering him well. And, I just feel like, man, this is a hard fight for D-Rod, man. It really is. It's just Kevin Holland with the speed, length, and power threat. I feel like it's going to be a rough night for Daniel Rodriguez. So I see Kevin Holland getting it done either by just KO, TKO, or, he drops Daniel Rodriguez with a big shot, and then he jumps on his neck, and then he submits him. So we're going with Kevin Holland. The Trailblazer is going to probably get this done here against D-Rod. I'm very confident in that pick, actually. So we got Roman Kopylov versus Paulo Costa. Man, Paulo Costa, hopefully this guy even makes it to the fight. And until this dude is in the cage, I'm not believing that he's not going to pull out. I mean, he's been pulling out left and right. This dude is pulling out like he's trying not to get these fucking people pregnant. Look at these cancellations, man. Holy shit. Look at these fight cancellations. Canceled against Kopylov. It was about rescheduled. Who knows why? Canceled against Chimaev. Canceled against Alaskarov. Canceled against Luke Rockhold. Canceled against Cannonier. Dude, holy fucking shit. This guy never makes it to the cage. And the last 2 times he made it to the cage, he lost against Robert Whittaker and he lost against Sean Strickland. And that Sean Strickland's fight, Paulo Costa looked fucking terrible, dude. He just kept running away, backing up the entire time. Almost never just stood his ground and threw. I don't see him looking that bad against Roman Kopylov, but I feel like Roman Kopylov, Super Serum, Chase Hooper should be able to go ahead and get this done over Paulo Costa, who looks like he's on the decline. Paulo Costa is only 34. It's not like he's old. They're both the same age, which is fucking crazy. I didn't realize that they were the same age. I thought that Kopylov was younger, but I just feel like Kopylov has just been looking better in his performances. Granted, he's not fighting people at the level of that Paulo Costa was, but the Chris Curtis win was impressive. He wrestled heavy against Cesar Almeida, but Cesar Almeida is a very dangerous striker. He got submitted by Anthony Hernandez, but Anthony Hernandez is a fucking animal. Like he really he does not quit on himself at all. So getting submitted by Anthony Hernandez, not much shame in that. Anthony Hernandez is just he's built different, dude. He's just a tubby Mexican with endless cardio. So we'll see. I mean, I feel like Kopylov definitely gets this done by decision. Costa's proven to be very durable. But yeah, I just feel like Kopylov should be with a quicker guy on the feet, land the better shots, and just be more dynamic with his footwork and overall just striking movement. So I see him just piecing Costa up for as long as the fight lasts. Like I said, I don't really see a stoppage, so the pick is going to be Roman Kopylov by decision. He's going to be landing big body kicks, going to be landing straight right hands, straight shots, and just piecing Costa up for the duration of the fight. So the main event, Dustin Poirier versus Max Holloway. Ooh, this is a banger. This is a banger. The trilogy fight, even though Max has lost twice. But granted, the first fight was Max's debut. He was only 20 years old. He was a kid at that time. And then the second fight was on short notice. Max was coming up. He called himself Muffin Top Max. You know, he's looking kind of soft at 155, just a little chunky. And Poirier was just able to have that power advantage over Max. And he dominated. He didn't really dominate him, but he was landing the harder shots, and he was definitely hurting Max a lot more than Max was able to hurt him. There was just a significant power advantage for Poirier. But now that Max has had time to properly prepare for this fight, properly move up to 155, put the weight on, like I'm sure he did against Justin Gaethje. I know he's not going to move back down to 145. He never should have moved back down to 145 to fight Poirier, in my opinion. I feel like it's just like he put the weight on properly to fight Gaethje, and then he's just going to drain himself back down again to fight at 145. It's like, what the fuck are you doing, bro? It's like that was a frustrating move for Max Holloway. But yeah, that's besides the point. This is Dustin Poirier's retirement fight. Max Holloway, I feel like he's just trying to get started in this division. He still is hungry for gold. He still wants to get the belt back. Be it the 155 belt. He's not going to get it back, but he still wants to be champion again, And I just feel like Max Holloway is going to have the speed advantage. I just feel like Dustin Poirier, he did look good in his last fight against Makhachev, but he is going to be on the decline here, just, with the wars and the miles on the clock, and he's just getting a little bit older. And I just feel like it's going to be a hard time for, Max Holloway it's going to be a hard time for Dustin Poirier to keep up with Max's speed. I just feel like Max, for the duration of the fight, he should be able to, land the better shots on Dustin, get out of the way effectively enough. And I feel like it's just going to be a hard time for Dustin Poirier to deal with Max's speed and increased power up at 155. Because in the rematch between Dustin and Max, he was definitely landing very good shots on Dustin, but he just wasn't able to hurt him. But I just feel like he's going to be a little bit more primed and ready to go here for the third fight against Dustin. I just feel like he's going to put this weight on properly. He's going to have a little bit more pop in his shots like he did against Gaethje. And I think that Max wins a decision. I feel like he's just going to be able to land not the bigger, cleaner shots, but, he's just going to be landing more. He's going to out volume Poirier. Poirier might hurt him at times. He might, have Max a little bit stunned at points, but, Max, he's very durable. He's only been stopped by Ilia Topuria, and that was after draining himself back down to 145. Which he shouldn't have done. But, my pick is going to be Max Holloway by decision. It's definitely going to be a tough fight, maybe a 48-47. It's going to be a competitive fight for sure. But I just feel like Dustin, he's just like, I'm retiring. He obviously wants to retire on a win, but I just feel like Max is a little bit more motivated. I feel like he just wants this more at this point in their careers. Dustin is just like, if I lose, fuck it. He just wants to go out fighting hard. So I just feel like Max has more desire to win in this matchup. So these are my picks right here. We've got Holloway decision, Kopylov decision, Holland KO round 1, Ige decision, Zell Hubert KO TKO round 2, Vinicius Oliveira decision, Arnold Allen decision, Francisco Prado KO round 1, Gauthier KO round 2, Dulatov KO round 1, Crute decision, Span KO TKO round 1, Ferreira KO TKO round 1, and Judice by decision. I didn't pick any submissions just because I don't know. I mean, obviously some of these fights have potential to end by submission, like Crute and Allen. But I don't know. I just went with the decision. But those are going to be my bets. Those are going to be not my bets, but those are going to be my picks. And yeah, I really hope everybody has a good time watching UFC 318. I hope your bets hit, all that good shit. But yeah, I mean that's probably about it for me. I'm just going to go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Peace out. Enjoy the card, and let me know what you think in the comments.